Today I'm going to show you how to change your backhoe controls over from ISO to SAE. It's real simple. Just swap over a couple of hoses, or you can do what I do and swap over a couple of valves. The only difference between ISO and SAE controls are the boom and the dipper. They're on different controls. So this is originally the boom control over here. It's just switching this boom control with this dipper control. That's the only difference with these ones between ISO and SAE. So it's real simple. A couple things you got to do before you even start messing with this is set all your controls on the ground, take all your pressure off your controls. I extended my controls out so it's easier to get to. What all you do is just let all the hydraulic pressure down after shutting it off. Cycle through your controls. Okay. That just ensures that when you take all your valves and everything in your hoses off on the inside here, that there's nothing going to be squirting out at you. Next thing you're going to need are two 13 millimeter drives, sockets. This is overkill. I have it turned down on the lowest. But all you're going to do is you're going to remove all these bolts in front. You remove this piece, and this piece right here. You got to remove this too, but in order to do that, first you got to remove these. They thread off. Super simple. That pulls off right there. Set that off to the side. There's a nylock nut on the back side along with a washer. Take all these off. save some time on the video, I might speed through this a little bit. That bottom one, you might use a set of a 13mm wrench, or just use some channel locks just to hold it a little bit. It sits in the corner pretty well there, so. These side ones don't have washers on the inside of them. I don't know why. They didn't come with any. Like I said, you don't have to use this impact. I just use it because it's faster. Once you get all those taken off there, this whole thing pops out and you can get access to all the hoses. So the valves you want are this valve right here and this valve right here. These are the two that you could swap the hoses on. You could easily swap the hoses here over to here, and you will be just swap them with each other, and you will get your controls ISO to SAE. But what you lose is, if you check this one out right here, this has got a detent in it. Looks like I need to tighten that back up. This has got a detent or a float in it, and you can see on, I'll take a picture of it, you'll see there's a, probably see from here, there's a longer cylinder on the bottom there with a spring in it, longer piston that allows this to float, the boom to float. I'm not 100% sure on the use of it. I've never seen it used before. If someone could tell me what you would use it for, that'd be great. Like in the example as to where you need it, but you lose it. So what I did, because I didn't want to lose that feature, is I just took these two. You'll take these off right here. You'll take the tops of these off, and I'll show you a picture of that, because I have a picture of what this looks like. You'll pop this off right here. There's a zip tie right there. You cut it, pop this rubber boot off, and you can it's either you take this off right here and you swap around both of these, so you don't even have to take the boot off, but I'll show you what I did before I realized what was going on. Is just take these controls off, these two arms off, loosen this nut, loosen that nut, and you can take those off and just swap these two big valve clusters. It's real simple to take this apart. There are three, I'll show you, I'll get closer to it. There are three nuts right there. There's one right here, one right here, one right here, and then one on the back side right there. I don't know if I can, on the back side right there. You pull those three apart after taking these two bolts off right here, or four bolts, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. After taking those four bolts apart right there, this will drop down, and you can take off these three nuts right here, or these three nuts, whatever side you want to face on, and you will literally pull this block out, this whole thing out, move it over, and swap it out right there. Now, a lot of people are concerned about the relief valve, and as far as I can tell, and anything I've seen online, there's one relief valve for this whole system, and it's right there, and it reliefs the whole system at the same pressure, and you can set your relief to what you want right there. But it's the same relief for the whole system. Now what you do is you pull these blocks apart, and each one of these two are together because of this right here. You can tear that all apart if you want to keep the valve packs in the same spot and just flop over these valves right here. Or you can just, what I did is swap this for this, and then swap these two hoses over, because these two hoses are your side to side and your bucket curl, and you have to swap those back over. But I wanted to maintain that valve, the float feature on the boom, and you can do that. The only thing that changed that would be not looking like it was factory would be this control system right here, which sits on right here. Is you've got this cutout right here for the float feature, the sit forward, but you don't have to. There's no more than enough room right there that it doesn't hit when you push it forward. You have no clearance issue whatsoever. But what you're going to want to do, as I did, is I put a pan down below here to catch all the grease, because these are going to leak a little bit once you pull this valve pack apart. It's not a lot of hydraulic fluid. It's just a little. You will have to just run your backhoe through its cycles so it bleeds the air out. No big deal. I didn't have an issue at all with mine. But that right there is pretty much it. Just separate these valves. So now, after you get all those valves separated, you look, and there'll be tiny O-rings on this side of the valves, and you'll see that they're in there. So just make sure that every single one of the cutouts in there has an O-ring, that you didn't drop one on the ground, because obviously you're going to tell if you have a leak soon enough if that's not right. That's pretty much it. When you put it, I'll show some pictures of that. I took pictures when I did it, but I didn't have video at that time, which then that changes your backhoe over to this being your dipper right here, this being dipper, and this being boom, which turns your controls from ISO to SAE, which is common for mini excavator controls, and that's what we use at work, and that's what I'm used to, so I had to swap it over. Any questions, leave them in the comments. I can answer them. It's as simple as that, and I'll put it back together. It's not as complicated as you think, and those valves come out. These are 3 rods right there that you'll slide them off, and they'll slide all on rods. It's not a complicated process, and you should be more than enough to do it. If you want to do it the easy way and and have the float feature on the dipper, which there would be no use for, I don't feel like, just swap over these 2 hoses with these 2. That's it. You could do that, and then you'll have ISO controls, but you will lose your float feature. But the way I did it, swapping these 2 over for these 2, you'll keep your float feature. Then just swap those 2 back, those 2 hoses over, or 4 hoses over, 2 here and 2 here. That way you maintain your side to side and your bucket curl. The tops of these are 5mm. Looks like mine was a little loose. I put mine back together. It was kind of dark. I want to put it back together. But if you also have any too much, if your controls are too loose, these are more than likely your issue. And you can tighten these up right here. I'll share a picture in the comments, or share a picture. I will share a picture in the video. I'll put a picture in there of what it looks like underneath these. I'm not going to tear it all back apart because I'm not going to lie. The hardest part is getting these, if you do it that way, but you don't actually have to do that. I realized after I had done it that you can just take these off. They're the exact same thing. They're exact same. This valve pack and this valve pack, besides that spring in the bottom, are the longer tube for the float feature on the boom. So you can easily take this, back this off, turn this whole thing out, and just swap these over without having to take any of this off. But if you feel like you want to take that off of there for any reason, I'll share a picture just for your guys' knowledge, you know, so you can see what it looks like without having to tear your own apart. I'll probably speed through this part real fast. You know, everyone who watches this video should know how to use a drill and a ratchet. You don't need to see me do it 10 times, 12 times. If you guys have any ideas for any more future content you want to see, I'm looking for ideas. I've got a bunch written down. But when I was buying my tractor, there was some content for it, but not completely. There wasn't a bunch of content. And there's certain things I'd like to see. Like I saw one video possibly on how to switch over your controls, and it was on a Kioti, and I wanted to do it to mine to see if mine was any different. I'm going to be doing a lot of work up on my property. I have about 8 acres, and I'm going to be doing a bunch of work up there, and I'm going to I'll be doing a bunch of content on that. You know, I'll be building a pond soon. I got a barn I got to finish, a whole bunch of stuff I got to move around. I'll do some reviews on some attachments, stuff like that. I'm not a professional by any means. I just do what I can. I like doing things myself, so that's why this is a DIY channel, to show that you can do a bunch of stuff by yourself. You don't have to have a professional do everything. Just like something, a little bit of this out. It's a lot easier doing control music. while I have it down, I'm going to grease it. There's a couple grease fittings that you can't get while it's in the air. Just a couple squirts. I had one of those quick attach lube things on my grease gun, but it doesn't fit in those grease fittings that are recessed in. It won't fit inside there. It was a cheap one off Amazon. I wonder if I get the lock and lube one, if it'll fit in there. If anybody knows, leave it in the comments. There you go, it's back to normal. For me, for normal controls. Now just take all your controls and cycle them through a couple cycles to make sure you bleed out all the air. I used for it. I'll do that at the end. Oh yeah, bud? This is what I used right here. Pair of channel locks, ratchet, 5mm Allen key, another ratchet with a 13mm. Hey bud, hold on. Super excited about the new tractor. 13mm socket and a depot 13mm socket with an impact. You don't have to use this, but it makes it a lot easier if you have an impact or a air ratchet or air impact or anything like that. Any questions, comment below. Like, subscribe if you can. If you have any ideas for the new videos, let me know. Post them below. Thank you.